Hey, hi guys. Good morning. Welcome back to school again. I hope your weekend was good. I hope you enjoyed your weekend. I hope your holiday has been good for you. I hope that being at home has been good for you. I hope you've been reading. I hope you've been helping your parents out with chores at home. Um Once again, let me just say welcome back to school. And then I would like to say welcome to today's math class. Yeah, today's math class is going to be an interesting one because there's going to be a lot of things we'll be looking into today. All right, so stay put and let's continue with today's class. All right. So last week we started something very important. I introduced you guys to data representation, right? I believe you remember I introduced you guys to data representation, and then there are a few things which I explained to you guys about some of the things that you've done in your previous classes, right? To you guys in JSS 3 right now. The things you did in your previous classes in JSS 1, JSS 2 that involved data representation. And then some of the things I told you about, I introduced you to data representation, if you remember. I said it involves the use of pictorial, graphical, or tabular tools, right, to represent any given set of data. All right. So and then I told you there are some methods which you've learned, right? I reminded you about your use of frequency table, the pictogram, the bar chart, the bar line, and the pie chart, right? So for your class, for JSS 3 that you are in right now, I believe I explained the frequency distribution table to you last week, right? In the last week's notes. And the pictogram, I explained that to you. I told you about it being the use of pictures for representation of data, right? And then the bar chart, and then the pie chart and bar line, right? So for this class, remember I told you, for JSS 3, for this particular um point of data representation, for this particular class that you are in for JS3, your data representation classes is going to be based on three major focus, or let me say two major focuses. The first one is the bar chart, and the second one is the pie chart. Okay, and I told you that we're going to be starting with the bar chart and component bar charts, right? So basically, that is what we're going to be looking into today, the bar charts and then component bar charts. All right. So let's look into the bar chart and with some examples right now. Um, Look at this now. Bar charts are rectangular bars drawn in lengths, right, that represent the magnitude of numbers being represented from a given set. That is, you use, let me pick my pen now. All right. I hope you guys have your note and you've written the notes I sent to you. You can also start writing the note from here as well. Like I said bar charts are what? It involves the use of rectangular bars, right? Which you draw in lengths. Now, those lengths represent the magnitude of numbers. That is the magnitude of numbers. Sorry, magnitude of numbers being represented from. Do you see that now? From a given set. So last week's example that I gave to you for revision of a bar chart, right? This table here. Now, this is the given set of data, right? And then a bar chart is drawn, taking the below example of 200 students, right? And their best colors of choice. Do you see that now? Their best color. So this is a table indicating the best color of 200 students. They are grouped into different types of colors, and then number of students who prefer these colors each. And then we have the bar chart here right now to show the what's it called now, the representation of this given set of data, right? Now for color red, we have 43 students who prefer color red, right? For green, we have 19. There is a representation here. Do you see that now? It's not up to 20 here. It's not up to 20. Do you see that now? It's just is what, almost 20. You see that line of 20. Do you see that there now? Good. And then we have blue to be 55, which is like, I think that's the highest now. Do you see that now? And it's not up to 60. So these are representations. The same thing for yellow, 49, orange, 34. Do you see that now? So these are representations, you see. So we want to look into these same bar charts clearly now. Moving on. Now that was the example I gave to you last week. All right, so look at this example now. The bar graph below, there is a bar graph after this page. Now I'm going to show you now. There is a bar graph. It shows the marks of the marks scored by 5 students now in a math quiz. Okay, now the maximum score is 50 points, right? And then the pass score is 30. So whosoever scores 30 and above passes the test, right? So now it says use the graph that you see now. This graph, look at this graph now. This graph is what we are talking about. Okay, that's the graph. So use the graph to answer these questions. Number 1, who scored the highest mark? Who scored the highest mark? We want to look at who scored the highest mark. Number 2, we want to look at who scored the lowest mark. Now we want to look at which 2 students scored the same marks, right? And then we say we try to find out, did they fail? Those students that scored the same marks, did they fail? Okay, then the 4th question says find the total marks. All right, what is the total marks of the 5 students? All right, and then the 5th one says find the average mark, and then who scored below the average mark. So let's look at this. Let's look at the solutions now that I put there for you. This is the bar graph, the graph right now. So now the first question says who scored the highest mark? Who scored the highest mark? So we look at this now. In this chart that you see now, which score is the highest? You find that it is this guy here, and that's what, 40 marks. Okay, so now the answer is the highest mark scored is what, 40, right? And then who scored it? It was Ahudu who scored the highest mark. Can you see that there now? Right? Now the second question, who scored the lowest mark? Look at this table, this graph now. We'll find that this one looks like the lowest, right? And that was scored by who? That was scored by, okay, this young person here called Iyabo. Do you see that now? So the lowest mark scored is 25 and Iyabo scored the lowest mark, right? Then the third question says, which 2 students scored the same marks and did they fail? Now look at this, your graph now. You find that 30 was what this person scored and this person also scored, right? Those are the only 2 similar marks, the only 2 people that scored the same thing, and they are Udo and Tola. That is why you see here, you see Udo and Tola scored the same marks, and that's what, 30 marks. Then the second one was, did they fail? And then, but we know from the question that the pass score is what, 30. Therefore we can say both scored the pass mark. That is, they did not fail. Okay, good. Now then, another question now says, it says find the total marks of the 5 students. The total marks of the 5 students. Now, I've already written the answer here, 160. But for your sakes, let's do it together. Now we have 40, right? We have 30. We have 230s. Okay, we have 230s. So let's make that 60. That's this one and this one. This is 40 here. This one is 25. And then this one is 35. Right? So we have 5 and 5 will give us 10. So we write a 0 and we put 1 up. So 1 plus 4 is 5, plus 6 is 11, plus 2, 13, plus 3, 16. Do you see that now? We have what? 160. Do you see that now? That's the total score. Okay. And then the last question, okay, not the last question. Find the average mark. The average is, you remember from our measures of central tendency, average or the mean, as we can see, is the sum of the scores, or the total, the sum of all the numbers divided by the amount of numbers that were given. Okay, so the total sum of numbers here is what? 160, right? That's the total score. Then if you want to find the average, you divide by the total number of scores given, or the number of students given. How many are they? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So we divide 160 by 5 to get what? 32. Okay, and then the last question says, who scored below the average mark? Now look at this. Now the average mark is 32, Abby. Do you see that now? So we want to find who scored below the average mark. Now that's 32. So any mark below 32 points is lower than the average score. Okay, and then the lowest ones that we have here are the ones that are higher than 32 are Audu's score, which is 40, and Nkem's score, which is 35. Okay, so the rest of them that are lower than 32 is Udo, which is 30 marks, Iyabo, which is 25 marks, and Tola, who scored 30 marks also. Do you see that now? So you can see here that Udo, Iyabo, and Tola scored below the average mark. Okay, is that okay now? All right then. So let's move to the component bar charts. The component bar charts. All right. So now the component bar graphs are made up of 2 or more components. Do you see this now? They are made up of 2 or more components. They are made up of 2 or more components. What does this mean? It means you have 2 or more bars representing one particular data. Do you see now? And we'll see in the example below. Okay, so we are looking at 2 bars representing information that belong to a particular group of data in this given set of data. Okay, it is a simple thing. Just look at this now. You see, they can either be called component bar charts. You can either call them component bar charts, or you can call them compound bar charts. You can see I underlined that for you, so make sure that is underlined in your notes. Okay, so now look at this example. Now the table below shows the approximate number of people in Port Harcourt who watch television each night. Now look at this. Draw a component bar graph to show the information. That is, now look at this. Now we have the days of the weeks here. the days of the week rather. We have the TV station, we have another TV station, we have the number of people who watch on Monday for both, we have number of people who watch for Tuesday for both, we have for Wednesday, for Thursday, for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. All right, good. So for Monday, 500 people watched NTA, right? And then 1,000 persons watched AIT. Do you see that now? 500 to NTA on Monday, 1,000 to AIT on the same Monday. Do you see that now? So we're going to be drawing a component bar chart for this Monday representing both AIT and NTA. Two of them. This now, we'll be having two bars, one for NTA, another for, and the other for what? For AIT. And then we know that the total would be what? 1,500. All right. So now let's look at that. The same thing for Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday and Saturday and Sunday. Okay. So look at this table. Thank God we have the table here, so we can use the table right here to solve our question. All right. Now look at that. On Monday, 500 watched NTA, 1,000 watched AIT. So look at this place here. I need you to take a look at this carefully. That is very important. Now, right here, you see something I call method 1. Now, there are two methods that you can use to, there are two approaches you can take to solving this question, to drawing your component bar chart. Okay, this is your first method. Now, in this first method, you have something called keys. Do you see that now? It's very important. When you're answering any question, you must have this in your question. Okay, you must have this thing called keys. Now, these keys are to represent or to indicate the contents of your component bar charts. You know, you can't just draw two bar charts and two bars to represent things, and you don't differentiate the two of them. Do you see now? So you can differentiate them either by colors, or you differentiate them by using shadings. You see now, maybe you can shade one and leave the other, or you can leave one and shade the other. You can draw boxes in one and leave the other. You can draw boxes in one and shade the other. Do you see now? Just to indicate that they are different. But right here in the keys section, this is where you're going to indicate which belongs to which one. Do you get it now? So that is how to make use of these component bar charts. Okay, so you can see on our y-axis we have the number of viewers, and then in our x-axis we have the days each. We have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Then we have from 0 to 3,500 viewers in a day. Okay, so now on Monday, like we said, NTA, like you see here, NTA is red, right? Let's say pink. Okay, let's say pink. NTA, 500 people watched NTA, so we have 500. 1,000 persons watched AIT, so we have AIT. And then we differentiate them. The color for NTA, red. The color for AIT, blue. Do you see that now? The same thing happens on Tuesday. 1,500 for NTA. Do you see that now? Pink. And then 500 for AIT. Do you see that now? You keep representing them continuously. The same for Thursday, for Wednesday, 1,000, 1,000 for both stations with their colors. For Thursday, 2,000 and then 1,500, 2,000 and then 1,500. Do you see that now? Then Friday we have 3,000 and then 1,500. Do you see that now? And then Saturday we have 2,500 and we have 3,500. Do you see that now? 3,500 for NTA and then AIT. Okay. And then on Sunday, they both have 3,000 viewers. 3,000 for NTA viewers, 3,000 for AIT viewers. Number of viewers. Do you see that now? This is a way to represent your values, okay? And then when you add them together, like you see here, 1,500 for Monday, right? So you have 1,000 plus 500. We have what? 1,500. Do you see that now? We have on Tuesday, 1,500 plus 500. We have 2,000 viewers. The same for Wednesday, 1,000 viewers for both of them. We have 2,000 viewers. Okay, do you see that now? The same goes for Thursday. You keep adding them, and then you have the total number of viewers for each day. Now, this is the first method which you can use. Okay, now the second method you can use is what you are looking at right now. That is, you draw. Now this time around, you will not draw both bars beside each other. You know, in this one, you are drawing the two bars beside themselves. Do you see this now? You are drawing both bars beside themselves. The amount of space between each bar is the same. Okay, so it's like you are just drawing them beside each other with just a micro, let me say, 0.1 centimeter apart. Okay, the two values for NTA and AIT together for each particular day. You see that you have like 0.01 centimeters in between them. All right, so that is how their representation is. Okay, so this one now, this second method which I want you to look at, the same values. Remember, when you add the two of them, each of them, look at this one now, 500 and 1,000, you arrived at 1,005, right? That's what we want to just come and represent here. We're just representing the total of all the viewers in this graph. Do you see that now? So on Monday, we have 1,500 persons. Do you see that now? So how are the 1,500 persons splitted? We have them. Some parts are for NTA, some parts are for AIT. And then you see the part for NTA levels at 500. Do you see that now? While the part for AIT continues another 1,000 viewers till it gets to 1,500. Do you see that now? From 500 plus 1,000 viewers, you have 5,000, 1,500. Do you see that now? The same thing for Tuesday. The total is 2,000 viewers, right? So how are the 2,000 viewers splitted? The NTA is 1,500 viewers, and then AIT is 500 viewers. The remaining 500 belongs to this is that now, out of the 2,000. Another 2,000 here for Wednesday. We have 2,000, right? So 1,000 belongs to NTA. The remaining will belong to AIT. This is that now. The same thing occurs for Thursday. In all of them, you see that we have 3,500 here. So we have our 3,500 graph, right? So how many viewers for NTA? 2,000. We measure we split the 2,000 out, right? We color it for NTA, as we've been doing for the other bars as well. And then we'll separate them, and then we'll color the rest for AIT, right? Do you see that now? So you just color the amounts that you know, and then you color the rest for the others. Do you see that now? Same thing for Friday. We have 4,500, right? One part, 3,000 viewers. Do you see that now? 3,000 viewers. 3,000 viewers saw NTA. The remaining will see AIT, which is 1,500. You see, Saturday, same thing. And then Sunday, the same thing. All right? So I believe this is a very simple and well understandable solution. You can pick any of these methods. You can pick this method. You can use this method. You see, whichever you feel suits you. Okay? So I believe that today you have learned something very important. I believe you have learned something good. Okay? So if you then have learned something very well today, I would like you to take a look at these exercises. Now, using the graphs from the example above, that's this example which we just solved, and this one, this example this one, I mean this actual example, okay, and the table and this solution, this either this graph or this graph, whichever one. The question is just for you guys to make use of the graph, okay, from the example above to answer the questions which you see right now. Let me remove the pen. So the first question is, on which two nights do the same number of people watch NTA and AIT? So which nights do the same number of people watch AIT and NTA? All right. Then second question says, on which night is there the biggest difference in the number of people who watch NTA and AIT? That is, which night is it that when you look at the difference between NTA and AIT viewers, it is the most compared to every other days, okay, every other day rather. And then the third question, NTA has the fewest viewers on what day? So NTA has the fewest number of viewers on what day of the week? AIT, the next question, AIT has the fewest viewers on what day of the week? Okay. And then the last question, how many more people watch NTA than AIT all together? That is, if you add NTA, the number of viewers of NTA from Monday to Sunday, and then you add all the number of people watching AIT from Monday to Sunday, what is the difference between them? How plenty are the people watching NTA? How more are they than the people watching AIT? So that brings us to the end of the class today. Thank you very much for watching. God bless you. Once again, I say welcome back to school. See you in our next class. Good night.